this part, we're going to continue our REST API and complete our urls.py. So in this part, which is related to our urls.py, we're going to add the URLs. As you can see here, we had another urls.py inside of the REST API, which was our project folder. This is our app folder. So here we included the to-do URLs. So to-do URLs was imported from the URLs of to-do API. And so we're going to create that right over here. So let me copy one of the imports from Django.urls import path and include, and from our views.py, from .views, we're going to import the class that we have just created in the last video. So the name was to-do list API view. There we go. So we have URL patterns equals to, and then we have the array related to that. So I don't want this to happen. I want to go to the next line. So that's it. So path, and then we're going to create a path for that to do. Actually, instead of to do, I'm going to put the API, and as the name here we need \2. So here we're going to use the to-do list API view, to-do list API view dot as view. There we go. So we're going to use the class to-do list API view instead of this API URL. Now let us run our server and test our API. So we're going to run python manage.py run server. Okay, something seems to be wrong. So the problem is we had a problem inside of our models.py, and it seems that here we need to add the user. We don't have any user equals user, so let's save this. And now we should be good to go. Let's see if there's any other problems. So the problem came from the urls.py, and I solved it by just removing this backslash. We don't have any backslash, it's no address. So be careful about that. And now we're going to follow the link. And now we're going to follow our URL, which we had here. So it was to-dos, and it was here in our URLs we had to-dos, and instead of this we were going to include to-do URLs. So now this is API. So to-do URLs and APIs. Okay, here we have to-dos and API afterwards. There seems to be still a problem. The problem is it says operational error at this and no such table, and we haven't migrated our database, our models. So let's stop the server and here run python manage.py make migrations. Okay, so wait, when try, let me do this one more time. Make migrations. Okay. So, and the next step, we're going to migrate. So we applied the migrations, and now let's run our server. Now let's refresh and see what happens. So now there is something else with the problem. Template does not exist here. To-dos API. The main reason for this kind of error is that we haven't included the REST framework inside of our settings.py. So let us also add this to our settings.py. Settings. Oh, REST framework. And there's an underline between them, and also a comma here. So let's save this and retry. Okay, there we go. We have our to-do list API. Now notice that once you work with the REST framework, you should also add it to your settings.py. That was the reason for this error. And now here we have our front end for, actually this is not a front end, this is just what Django has created for us to check our to-do lists. So this is a to-do list API, and here we have the get method, we have the HTTP 200 OK, and we have get and post operations that are allowed. And so here we can add our own to-do list. So first of all, let us create a bracket, and in here we're going to add, so here we're going to add our own data. So the first one was the task colon, and then, for example, doing my homework, right? Doing my homework. And the next one should be related to completed, which is, so completed again, and it is false by default. So also it's better to, there seems to be, okay. So now let's post this data, and okay, there's this error for JSON parse. We need to fix something. Now let's get back, and here let's add to-dos API, and let's create another one. So I will copy one of these for myself. So inside of my own editor, I've written, because it doesn't have a good editor inside of this form, so I'm going to paste it. So this is a task, and it's a new task. For example, here you can call this my homeworks, and so it's not completed, so I'm gonna post it. And as you can see, it's been added to one of my to-do lists, and the user is the user one. If we add another user in our site administration, it will, and log in with that kind of a user, then we will be able to add another, the user ID will be another number. So here, if we want to get this, we can write \1, and oh, we need to define this. So in the next parts we will also define this, but for now, in order to get what we have, we can only get this from here. We can see our own task. So let me paste another task. So it's a new task, and let me post it. So as you can see, it's another post that has been added, another to-do list that has been added. So that's it. We've already managed to post our to-do list and be able to update it. So in the next part, we are also going to extend our views.py in order to be able to delete and also do all of the different kind of operations, all the different requests on our database. So that's it for this part of our tutorials.